Hey YouTube, how's it going? J2H. Today we got something a little different here. Gonna be ranking some movies. Ranking my second favorite franchise of all time, behind the one you saw last week, being the MCU. So we're gonna rank the Star Wars titles today. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the title, can explain either why it ranks here, what I like, what I dislike, etc. Hopefully it won't go long, but I could talk about this stuff all day. First title, I actually don't own because it's kind of hard to find on Blu-ray, and it's not available on 4K at all. Would be the Star Wars, the animated Clone Wars movie. I think it's called Attack of the Clones. Nope, it's called Clone Wars. Um, Not that it's bad. I actually don't mind this one. The first time I watched it, I did fall asleep, just because it's not what you expect from Star Wars. It's animated, and it's what spawned the Clone Wars and the Rebels TV shows, but it's just not what I expected. I think now it's worth a watch because I want to try to dive into the Clone Wars TV show and the Rebels TV shows. So I'm gonna give it a rewatch, but for now it sits right at the bottom of my list because it's the only one I've fallen asleep watching. So plus it's just not my cup of tea. I want to see Star Wars. I want to see live action lightsaber stuff like that. So next up, number Number 11, am I right? Yep, number 11. So that was number 12. Number 11 is Attack of the Clones. Now, some people rank this better than 1. I think this one and next one, which just happens to be 1, are interchangeable. I don't think any Star Wars movie is bad. I'll start with that. This one is just not my favorite. This one feels teen angsty. It's like the romance crap with Anakin. Not a big fan. It's a filler. It's between 1 and 3, so it tries not to feel filler, but to me it kind of does. Really like the end, the clone stuff, the big war. I like Yoda on the back there, but it's just this one. I can remember 2 or 3. I've seen this several times, and I can only pick out stuff I like here and there. So it's just not my favorite. It's at the bottom of the list. The sand scene and stuff like that. It gets a lot of shit. I don't think it quite deserves all of it. It's just not my cup of tea, which I've said twice. Next one, the Phantom Menace with the pod racing stuff and the Jar Jar and stuff. It just this one, like some of the stuff in this irritates me, but it's also got some really cool stuff. The only one with Liam Neeson, the Qui-Gon stuff. It has I believe this one has the underwater scene. The underwater city. I love that scene. That stuff's awesome. So there's really good, and then there's some pretty bad with Jar Jar. So number 10, I believe. All right. Yeah, 10. So number 9. I'm used to episode numbers and not ranking. So number 9, Solo: A Star Wars Story. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I do not like the character of Han Solo. Not a Han Solo fan. I think he's cocky, too cocky. That's not an attribute I enjoy. So I wasn't a big fan of them even making this film. Now, however, there's a amazing cameo at the end. It's got Emilia Clarke and Donald Glover in it, who I enjoy very much. But it feels really long to me. That's the other thing. I remember rewatching this in 4K after the theaters. And I thought it took forever. Like, it just, maybe it's because the end is my favorite with that cameo, but it just seems like it took forever. And there's the heist scene with I think they're freight cars. Not a fan of that scene at all. I do like Woody Harrelson. I forgot he is in this as well. So, I don't know. Not my favorite. Next up, now that we start to get to the ones where I have more good than bad to say about them. Where they're kind of really close to being interchangeable. This is the Star Wars The Last Jedi. So this is episode 8, which is actually ranked number 8, right? Yeah, hey, look at that. Episode 8. The only thing I didn't like about this, the Leia scene is really weird, the Leia Force scene, and then the casino stuff, the Canto Bite. Canto Bite? The casino. I just call it the casino scenes. Usually that's when I get up, to the point where in the theater even, which I never leave the theater to get refills or anything. The second time I watched this in theaters, I just got up and got a popcorn. I was not a fan of that at all. But I really like the Luke stuff in here. I really enjoyed the ending battle with him and Kylo. Yeah, good film. I don't mind it at all. Next up, the Star Wars story. This one is Rogue One. I really like this film. I think, is it Jane Erso? Yeah, Jane Erso did awesome. What's her real name? Does it say? It doesn't. I liked her story. The droid killed it, stole it for a lot of fans. The cameo in at the end of this is phenomenal. Such a great scene. This leads so well into Episode 4. I really like this. Robert Whittaker's in this. Is it Ben Mendelsohn? Awesome in this too. I liked his character a lot. Maz. I'm terrible with names, but is it Maz Mendelsohn? I feel like this movie and Doctor Strange came out in the same year, and I was like, dude, that guy is in everything. So it's really cool. The ending scene, where it occurs and everybody, spoiler alert, like everybody fucking dies. Really liked that scene. I like how this leads right into Episode 4. I'm actually this is probably the one I'm excited about most rewatching in 4K. Next up, the newest edition. We have the Rise of Skywalker. Now this one has its critics here and there. People tend to pick at this one quite a bit. I liked it. I think my favorite character of the sequel trilogy is Kylo Ren. So I think they send out, there you go, right there. They send out Kylo Ren really well. They end his story. I think they end the story well. The Palpatine stuff was kind of weird. The Rey finding out she's a Palpatine stuff, like the Force lightning with the fingers and everything like that. I really enjoyed. I liked this movie quite a bit. Saw it twice in theaters. So it is number, I think it's 6. Yep, number 6. So number 5, being the original Star Wars A New Hope, or just originally called Star Wars. Now, 5 and 4 are really interchangeable. Depending on the day, I like them better. Like this film quite a bit with Luke and discovering his abilities. The Obi-Wan and Vader fart. The Obi-Wan and Vader scene part 2. Now that you've seen 3 and Rogue One, how that comes to be. Them finding Han and everything. You can't say much about the original Star Wars. You can't say enough, I should say. Number 4, which I've already spoken a little bit about, Return of the Jedi. Now this one, the Ewoks, man. I'm not an Ewok fan. This one, that's why depending on the day, this jumps over it, because of the Ewoks. Sometimes if I'm fucking Ewoks, Episode 4 jumps way over. But I really like the Vader stuff at the end of this one, for obvious reasons. The green lightsaber with Luke, really, really good. Number 3, this one seems to be quite a lot of people's favorite movie. Empire Strikes Back. Really like this. The Hoth scene, the scene with him and Yoda, and I can't remember I don't remember where that is. I'm really bad with that sort of stuff. But the Darth Vader, and everything in Episode 5, the reveal, like the spoiler alert line in this movie, so fantastic. Number 2 on the list, and for the longest time, my favorite movie in the franchise, you have Revenge of the Sith. This one being my favorite because of the Anakin turn. So the Anakin, heel turn, if you want to call it that, him turning evil, the huge Anakin Obi-Wan fight, him becoming Vader, and the birth of Luke and Leia is just so awesome. The Order 66 scene, just the Chancellor and Yoda fight. So much good things about this. I really like Anakin's turn and watching it, on the big screen. This was also the first Star Wars movie I ever watched on the big screen, and the movie that got me into Star Wars was this film right here. All the way back in, I think it was 05? 05 or 03? Oh, they'll tell me. That says 2020. That's not right. And then finally, number 1, my favorite Star Wars film of all time, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Episode 7. Now, there's several reasons that this is my favorite Star Wars film. This one will always have a special place in my heart because of, some personal reasons. Mostly, my brother, who got married a year before I did, so this would have been the summer, the winter this came out. This was actually what we did for his bachelor party. My brother's a big Star Wars fan. My father is a big Star Wars fan. So for my brother's bachelor party, because he was a minor at the time, couldn't drink or anything like that. Plus he's in the service, so you don't want to go to strip club with Anyway, we went to watch this film on opening night. My father, my brother, his other groomsmen, and myself. So I always have it will always have that special place in my heart. But also, you get the new introduction of the characters that brought back Star Wars after so many years. This ties Endgame and Civil War for the thing I've seen the most in theaters. Those three are all tied. My wife really likes this one. I just can't say enough good things about this movie. I love this movie. I really do. Now, that being said, I love all the Star Wars movies. So it's, like I said, after Solo, like, these are all really close. These are all really close together. They come in batches, but these three are the only ones where it's, not going to pop these in out of order and just watch them for fun. My wife loves these two. I think we're both kind of agreeing on Solo, but just not at the top of my list. So anyway, that's my ranking of the 12. Yeah, there's 12. 12 Star Wars films. Definitely feel free to leave your rankings in the comments. I love to like review and read stuff like that. Let me know what you thought of my rankings. Be gentle. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I do have one from each trilogy in my top 3, if that counts. So I know Joe, Crazy Joe, and I have talked about it. I've actually been on a podcast about my ranking of the Star Wars films and everything. So so thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. But for sure, talk Star Wars in the comments. Let me know, if you want to talk about the slipcovers, if you want to talk about the editions, if you want to talk about the films, or, which trilogy do I like better? I'd like to talk about that, but more specifically, your rankings, just anything. I'd love to talk to you guys in the comments about Star Wars. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later, YouTube.